Hello, my name is Meerah and I'm a Lorekeeper in one of Yogg-Sothoth's libraries, and today I wanted to talk about the Miqo'te race from Final Fantasy XIV. This is a remake of a video that I made back in September 2022 that I felt could use a more expanded or extended edition with more detailed information. The Miqo'te are a humanoid race with feline features such as pointed furry ears, cat-like tails, a heightened sense of smell and hearing, and facial markings. Male Miqo'te can be seen with dark tear marks, a feature seen on desert casts that is used to reflect the glare of the harsh sun. Miqo'te also have facial markings that resemble whisker lines. For reasons still unknown, female Miqo'te vastly outnumber male Miqo'te. As a whole, the race is known for their hunting prowess, and they value independence and freedom. In modern times, the Miqo'te have a natural lifespan of around 80 to 100 years. While most Miqo'tes have adopted the common spoken languages of whichever area they're in, the remnants of the ancient tongue can still be found in the Miqo'te hunt speak, which can be heard in some of the more traditional tribes as a series of whistles and clicking of the tongue that can be used during a hunt or pursuit of prey. Due to their nature as hunters and their excellent agility, balance, eyesight, and hearing, they often make very good fishers, archers, and pugilists. The Miqo'te are spread out all across Etheres, but originally came from the southern continent of Mericidia, and were taken from there to be used as a slave caste for the Allagan Empire during the Third Astral Era. The Allagans then placed the Miqo'tes on Corvos on the continent of Islabard right before the Fourth Umbral Calamity. The Fifth Umbral Era would bring the Age of Endless Frost, a time in which much of Etheres was frozen over, including the oceans, and the ancestors of the modern Miqo'te followed the migrating fauna across the ice bridges to the rest of the world, including Eorzea. After this migration, the Miqo'te would begin to separate into two distinct groups, the Seekers of the Sun and the Keepers of the Moon. The naming conventions of the Miqo'te vary between the two clans. Keepers of the Moon have first and last names like yours. Female first names are short with 1 to 2 syllables, with male first names being longer with 3 to 5 syllables. Keeper males will adopt their mother's first name along with an additional suffix, which indicates their birth order. However, very, very rarely will a keeper family ever produce more than 3 sons. So as you see here, our little graphic, Ah is for the firstborn son, Ta is secondborn, Li is third, Se is fourth, Ra is fifth, Ear is sixth, Wo is seventh, Ya is eighth, Z is ninth, and Dan is 10. An example of a female keeper name is Lala Jinjal, Lala being her given name, and Jinjal being her family name passed down via her mother. An example of a male keeper name is Rub'a Ipoken, Rub being his mother's first name, and Ah indicating that he is the firstborn son of his family, and Ipoken being his family name passed down from his mother. Some keeper surnames have been passed down since the First Astral Era. While many of the larger families migrated during the Age of Endless Frost, many families chose to remain in their homelands or migrate to other secluded areas. Some of the most well-known keeper surnames are Aliapo, Amarillo, Bajiri, Ipokan, Gamdula, Garanji, Jab, Jakya, Jawantal, Jinjal, Katapo, Kamazam, Lize, Laega, Maimhof, Murilla, Mahakaraka, Migo, Molko, Molkat, Moshroka, Moi, Mojuk, Nelha, Panipar, Polali, Rabinta, Tayun, and Wilzun. The naming conventions of the Seekers are like the reverse of the Keepers. Seekers have a patriarchal society, not a matriarchal society like Keepers do. There are 26 main Seeker tribes, one for each letter of the Eorzean alphabet, which they adopted upon their migration to Eorzea. Each letter represents an animal, which is said to protect the tribe. In Seeker first names, the first letter represents the tribe they belong to. Female first names in Seeker culture usually have 3 to 5 syllables, while male first names usually have 1 to 2 syllables. Seeker females' surnames come from the breeding male that sired them. That is to say that for their last name, they take their biological father's first name, much like how keeper males take their biological mother's first name as their first name. Male Seeker surnames are not family names and depend not on their lineage, but their position in the tribe, and is subject to change. The tribe's leader or leaders or breeding male is known as the Nunh, while all other single Seeker males have the surname of Tia. So, Ishtola rule. We'll take her as an example. Y is the tribe she comes from, Shtola is her given name, and Ru is the name of her father. M'aht Nunh, Meh is his tribe name, Rahz is his given name, and Nunh indicates that he is the breeding male and leader of the M tribe. Another example is Grahatia. G is his tribe, Raha is his given name, and Tia represents his status as a single lone seeker male. The two factions have more differences than just naming conventions. The Keepers of the Moon are nocturnal, for example, and in Eorzea they live almost exclusively in the Shroud and its surrounding forests. As mentioned before, not all Keeper families migrated to Eorzea. Many would choose to stay in their homelands or go elsewhere, with some families ending up in Thavnair and Sharlayan. Keepers of the Moon structure their society in familial tribes, which are matriarchal, and each tribe is made up of about 2 or 3 families that hunt and live in the same territory. The males tend to wander and don't stick around too much, and the females seem to prefer it that way. As a result, most keepers are raised by the females in their tribe. Physically speaking, their preference for hunting at night has caused them to evolve large round pupils, as well as large round eyes and blue-gray skin tones. They tend to have darker colored fur and larger ears with longer and skinnier tails. The lion-styled tail is commonly seen among keepers. Keepers of the Moon also have very pronounced canine teeth, which are clearly visible anytime they open their mouths, which is a trait that seekers lack. The Keepers of the Moon Miqo'te worship Minfina the Lover, and they are known for decorating their faces with war paint before going on a hunt. Seekers of the Sun are diurnal, that is to say that they hunt during the day and enjoy warmer climates. As mentioned before, they are a patriarchal society. Each tribe has 1 to 2 breeding Nuns that are responsible for protecting the tribe and reproducing with any of the consenting females of appropriate age. Males born into a seeker tribe are called Tias, and they must either leave the tribe and strike out on their own, or challenge and defeat the existing Nun in single combat to take his place. Some larger tribes may have more than 1 Nun, but this is really uncommon. Seekers of the Sun worship Azema the Warden, the Sun Goddess. There are 26 main seeker tribes, 1 for each letter of the Eorzean alphabet. I will go through and tell you what we know about them. The A tribe, which is pronounced Ah and stands for antelope, is most likely located somewhere in Noscea, as we see almost all of the A tribe NPCs located in Noscea, with the exception of 1 in Sharlayan and 1 posted in Garlemald, but they're a Maelstrom officer, so we can assume that they are from Noscea. Pre-Calamity, we see a member of the A tribe in Limsa, Gridania, and Ul'dah. The B tribe, which is pronounced B, stands for boar. There's only 1 NPC in the game from the B tribe, and they are from Summerford, Noscea. Pre-Calamity, we see members of the B tribe in both Limsa and Gridania. The C tribe, which is pronounced Ka and stands for Coral, is also most likely located in or near Noscea, as that's where most of the NPCs can be found. Pre-Calamity, we see 1 C tribe member in Limsa and 1 in Ul'dah. The D tribe, which is pronounced Deh and stands for the Dodo, is probably also from Noscea or the surrounding area. There are very few NPCs in the game that are from this tribe. 1 hails from the Grey Fleet in Noscea, while 1 is stationed in Aleport for the Yellow Jacket. The other NPC is part of the Monk job quest line, and she says that she was orphaned from a young age, so we aren't sure where she came from. Pre-Calamity, there is a member of the D tribe found in Gridania and 1 in Ul'dah. The E tribe, pronounced Eh and stands for Eft, and is a little bit harder to pin down. We see E tribe members that are from Bronze Lake and Wineport, but there are also twins from the E tribe that live in Ul'dah. Amenafa is an NPC that we see in both Noscea and the Shroud, and Debolaf, who works for the Garland Ironworks and can be found in Rover's Reach. So they're relatively spread out, but I would guess that they also probably are based in Noscea, just based on Tomi's bio, which says she's from Bronze Lake. Pre-Calamity, you could find E-tribe members in Ul'dah, Gridania, and Western Noscea. The F tribe, which is pronounced F and stands for bear, has members all over Eorzea. We see them in Gridania, in Thanalan, and Noscea, but also in Sharlayan, so it's difficult to tell where the tribe is based. Based on Flamine's last name, we can deduce that the Nun of the F tribe at the time of her birth was F-Kesh Nun. The G tribe, which is pronounced Goot and represents the griffin, is one of the few tribes that decided not to migrate to Eorzea and instead stayed in Corvos. That being said, many G-tribe members can indeed be found all around Eorzea nowadays, and pre-Calamity they can be found in Limsa and Ul'dah. The H tribe, pronounced Ha and representing the Gigatoad, are most likely located in Noscea, as all of the current NPCs that are members of the H tribe can be found in either Limsa or Noscea, with the exception of 1 Hamneko, who has a Keeper of the Moon model and can be found stationed in the South Shroud. So I assume that she has one parent that's a Keeper living in the Shroud. Interestingly, pre-Calamity, there were H Tribe members to be found in both Ul'dah and Gridania. Based on Hananza's last name, we can assume that the Nunh of the H tribe at the time of her birth was C Nunh. The I tribe, which is pronounced E and stands for the buffalo, is one of the more underrepresented tribes in the game, with only one NPC to be found, and she is in Limsa working at the Drowning Winch. There were 3 I tribe members pre-Calamity, 2 of which were in Ul'dah and 1 was in Upper Lanassia. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum to the I tribe, we have the J tribe, which we can actually visit in-game and know quite a bit about. The J tribe, pronounced Ja, stands for jackal, make their home in the town of Alagiri in the Peaks, Girabania. Pre-Calamity, you could bump into a J tribe member in Ul'dah or Limsa, but in recent times you can find them all around Girabania as well as the rest of Eorzea. Because there's such a large group of them, we can actually see what they might normally wear. The J tribe members living in Alagiri wear woolen smocks or linen shirts, while those of the oldest profession choose to wear Thavnarian boleros and bustiers. Based on Jalman's last name, we can assume that the Nunh of the J tribe during the time of her birth was Jabal Nunh. The K tribe, pronounced Ku, represents the Hipparion and is most likely located in Lanassia, since all of the current NPCs from that tribe are represented there, aside from 1 which is stationed in Mordona. 2 of the K tribe members are exceptionally talented Arcanists, so it makes me wonder if maybe the K tribe members don't have some kind of like innate aether manipulation abilities or something. That's kind of interesting. The L tribe, pronounced Li, stands for the Viper and is another tribe that is not very well represented, with only a small handful of members in the game. 2 of them can be found in Limsa, while 1 works for the Garland Ironworks and stationed in Ishgard. Pre-Calamity, L tribe members could be found in Gridania and Western Thanalan. The M tribe, unlike the L tribe, is very well represented and is one of the 3 secret tribes we can actually visit in-game. The M stands for Marmot and is pronounced Meh. They make their home at the Peering Stones in the Fringes in Girabania, while those involved with the Resistance, namely Menago, wear the Filibuster's Gambeson of Aiming. Those who live at the Peering Stones wear Rami tabards. The Nunh and Mezetia wear Damelskin coats, while those who do the hunting in the M tribe wear Animos Gambesons. The current Nunh is Meerah. At one point, the M tribe had 2 Nuhns. M tribe members are primarily found at Peering Stones in the Fringes, though 2 can be found working in the Labyrinthos in Old Sharlayan. The N tribe, which is pronounced In, stands for the Aldgoat, and again, we only have a few NPCs to represent their entire tribe. 3 of them are found in Limsa Lominsa, while 2 can be found working in the Labyrinthos in Old Sharlayan. It's probably safe to assume that this tribe hails from somewhere in Lanassia. However, before the Calamity, it was possible to bump into an N tribe member in Kurthus, of all places. The O tribe, pronounced O, is represented by the Mole. The O tribe NPCs currently in the game can be found around Lanassia, with 1 oddball turning up in the markets of Gridania, and a Tia can be found hunting Chocobo at Tailfeather in Dravania. Prior to the Calamity, O tribe members could be found in Lanassia, so it's likely that that's where their tribal village was based. The P tribe, pronounced Pe, stands for the Basilisk. Prior to the Calamity, they could be found in Limsa and Ul'dah, but the majority of P tribe NPCs currently can be found in Lanassia, with 2 in Ul'dah. The Q tribe, pronounced Ki, represents the Pook. Their village was destroyed by the Sahagin. We can deduce that it was once in western Lanassia. Several Q tribe NPCs still linger in this area, and can be found around Swiftperch and Aleport. Ultimately, however, the Q tribe has been scattered since the Calamity, with 1 member as far away as Dravania. Prior to the Calamity, you could find Q tribe members all around Eorzea, from Gridania to Limsa to Ul'dah. The R tribe, pronounced R, stands for the Raptor. The R tribe must surely have its tribal village in Lanassia, as nearly all its members work and live on the island. The exception seems to be Rigonata, who works as a picker of locks in Kugane, and Ridyanki, who works in Labyrinthos in Old Sharlayan. Prior to the Calamity, R tribe members could be found in Gridania and Ul'dah. Based on Rashat's last name, we can deduce that the Nunh of the R tribe at the time of her birth was Rahz Nunh. The S, or Zu tribe, pronounced Su, are found mostly in Noscea, several of them serving in the Maelstrom. One can be found at the Gold Saucer, while another can be found dining at the Last Stand in Old Sharlayan. Prior to the Calamity, S tribe members could be found in Ul'dah and Limsa. The T tribe, pronounced T, represents the Condor. They can be found mostly in Noscea, with one Tia being a professor at the Studium in Old Sharlayan. Based on the last name of the Miqote child Takebi, the current Nunh of the T tribe is most likely M'aht Nunh. The U tribe was the first Miqote Seeker of the Sun tribe that we got to visit in the game, pronounced U, and representing the Drake. The U tribe are known as the Children of the Sands. They make their home in Forgotten Springs, southern Thanalan, and are masters of hunting in the Sagoli Desert. Only a small handful of U tribe members can be found outside of their village of Forgotten Springs. One of them in Little Alamigo, one of them in Ul'dah, and then shockingly, one of them in Noscea working for the Maelstrom. Pre-Calamity, you could find U tribe members in both Ul'dah and Limsa. The current Nunh is M'aht Nunh, and two Tias live in Forgotten Springs alongside the Nunh, constantly trying to prove that they are fit to succeed him. Those actively on guard duty or out hunting wear a boarskin harness and subligar, while those who are just in the village doing their daily stuff tend to wear the oasis tunic. The V tribe, pronounced Vah and standing for the Vulture, are most likely based out of Noscea. Prior to the Calamity, however, most V tribe NPCs could be encountered in the Shroud. The W tribe, pronounced Wah and meaning wolf, is another one of the more underrepresented tribes, with only a small handful of named NPCs in the game, one of which is in Ul'dah, one of which is in Noscea, and the other is on Old Sharlayan. The X tribe, which is pronounced She and represents the Lynx, are thought to have been based out of Giribani, perhaps the Locks, or even Alamigo itself. However, we are unsure how many survived the Calamity or the Garlean invasion, as only a couple named NPCs are in the game at the moment. The Red Mage mentor Shirun Tia was once a member of the Alamigan Resistance. The other NPC can be found outside of the Tempest Gate near Limsa. The Y tribe, pronounced Yah and meaning jaguar, are thought to be based out of Dravania, and were integrated into Sharlayan society when the Sharlayans ended up colonizing the place. When the Exodus happened after the Garleans invaded Eorzea, it is believed that most, if not all, of the Y tribe went with them and now live on Old Sharlayan. Most of the named NPCs are either located in Sharlayan or are known to be from Sharlayan, with one exception, a Y tribe member that lives in Limsa and is a member of the Bloody Executioner's pirate gang. Based on the last name of Ishtola and Imitra, we can assume that the Nunh of the Y tribe at the time of their birth was named Yarul Nunh. Last but certainly not least, the Z tribe, pronounced Zo and standing for the Ziz, another of the criminally underrepresented tribes. The two NPCs that I can find, one is in Thanalan working at the Gold Saucer and one is in Limsa. Prior to the Calamity, Z tribe members could be found in Thanalan and the Shroud. And that is pretty much it. I wish we had more than just 3 tribes' villages to visit, especially considering how many of them are probably based out of Noscea, which is a place we have access to. But at least it's not as bad as the Keepers, man, who are supposed to have villages throughout the Shroud, which we also have access to, but we only ever see random NPCs around the Shroud and in Gridania, but no settlements. It's kind of depressing. As a Keeper main, it makes me really sad, honestly. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope to see you next time here in the library.